Good day! I am Jan Veronica Arapeles, the Project Development Officer 3 and FDS Focal Person of Pantawid Pamilya Filipino Program in Field Office Mimaropa. Today, we will discuss about Family Development Session, or as we all know as FDS. With this discussion, we have three objectives. First, we want our participants to learn. Learn new things about FDS. Be aware of the new concepts regarding the implementation of FDS. Second, we want our participants to unlearn. As some of you might already have knowledge and experience on conducting FDS, we want you to unlearn the things that are not applicable anymore in its implementation. And lastly, we need our participants to relearn. Relearn and reinforce their FDS knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are still applicable for improved implementation of FDS. So we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. For our guidance, here is our presentation outline. We will discuss the description and objectives of FDS, its framework, then the methodology and the learning materials used, and still using in the conduct of FDS. We will also have a brief run-through to the enhanced guidelines and the roles of city and municipal links and social welfare assistance in the conduct of FDS. So now, let's start with the definition of FDS. What is FDS? Usually, when we ask our participants, partner beneficiaries, or partner stakeholders, they will answer this question with FDS equals meetings, assemblies, gatherings, a place to learn. Or some of them will say it is one of the conditionality of the program, and if not attended, cash grants will be deducted. Well, all of these are true. But just to sum up, FDS is a multi-parent group activity that aims to strengthen the parenting capabilities of our partner beneficiaries. So with FDS, we would want our partner beneficiaries to apply their learnings to their homes and be a better and responsible parents to their children and be an involved member of their communities. Through these development sessions, we wanted our participants to be more responsive to the needs of their children and their family. We wanted them to be more aware of the needs of their family and be able to attend to these needs responsibly. Second is, we want our participants to foster deeper social awareness and be actively involved in different community development activities. We want them to be aware of what's happening in their community and let them be part of this progress and development. And lastly, we want our participants to be socially prepared for their eventual graduation from the program. We would want them to still apply their knowledge to their lives, their homes, and their communities. And to be an example that development among Pantawid families can be realized. So that's for our description and objectives of FDS. So now, let's move on to the conceptual framework of FDS. As you can see in the diagram, the program uncovers at the beginning the present well-being of its partner beneficiary. And it shows that most of them are passive towards community development activities. They also have a permissive and uninvolved parenting style. Most of them are at the survival level of well-being. But through FDS, or the interactive sessions on empowering families and communities, we would want them to be an empowered families. Empowered families in a resilient and engaging communities. This entails a stronger sense of community and enhanced responsive parenting roles among our partner beneficiaries. We would also want them to be at the self-sufficient level of well-being. So that's how we want our participants turn into after attending our FDS. We would want to turn our passive families into a more involved and empowered families who are not only active in their responsible parenting but also involved in their community activities. So next, let's discuss the methodologies used during FDS and the learning materials that we are using. So next, let's discuss the methodologies used in FDS and the learning materials we used over the past years. For the methodology used, we have the ADIDS model. For ADIDS, we have the A or the activity. In activity, we allow our participants to share their experiences and express their personal concept. We do this through role plays, games, and creative expressions. In activity, we need to ensure that it is interesting for our partner beneficiaries. We need them to take part and be involved in it, to know their level of understanding about the topic that we will be discussing. So next is discussion for D. This is where we have questions, reflections, and observations related to the experiences of our participants. This is also where we process the results of the activity that we had. The outcome of the first activity is being shared and elaborated during the discussion part. This is also where we connect the activity to the main topic of the session. Next is I for input. Input is usually the lecture part of the session. Here, we aim to impart knowledge to our participants. We would want them to expand their know-hows about the topic. Also here, we validate and challenge the participants' knowledge, understanding, and experiences that they have expressed during discussion. We would want them to share more of their knowledge and experiences as part of the lecture. For the next D, it stands for deepening. In deepening, we would want to know if our participants really understood what we had discussed during the lecture. We challenge our participants to address conflicts and contradictions. So if they have questions or clarifications or other views other than the resource persons, we would want them to raise and share during the deepening. We could also use here some activities such as role plays, games, and other interactive acts. So next, we have synthesis. In synthesis, we summarize the insights generated during the session. This is also to help our participants to see the lessons and key learning points in a more concise manner. This helps the facilitators to determine whether the objectives of the session is achieved or not. In addition to ADIDS, we add another A, which is for assignment. This should help attain the objectives of the session. This also should be interesting and differentiated. This could be a remedial, reinforcement, or enrichment activities that will be a follow-through to the session. So that's for our ADIDS model as a standard methodology for our FPS conduct. So now let's discuss some principles to remember in relation to the FPS conduct. First, we have the adult learning principles. Let's bear in mind that our participants are adult learners, and these principles affect their learning experience during the session. Most of them are problem-oriented. They become more interested if the topic is directly related to their problem or situation that they are facing. Next is if they already have experiences related to the topic. We need to ensure that these experiences are being shared and given attention as part of the session. We also need to ensure that our participants are internally motivated and ready to learn. We also need to give importance to the session as being self-directed. We would want them to raise their questions and guide the discussion. Though we have resource persons, we want to make sure that the discussion evolve in the experiences of the participants. Now, we will see here the eye, ear, and hand that represents visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. Here, we would want to emphasize that what the participants see, hear, and experience during the session deeply affects their learning, as related to the learning pyramid that represents the learning retention rates of the participants. So as you can see in the picture, those participants who attended sessions with lecture only, 5% of their learning retained to them. As the experience and involvement of participants in the discussion rises, the learning retention rate also rises. So when the participants are able to share their learning or teach others, or if they were able to immediately use their learning, 90% of it is retained. For example, When we ask our partner beneficiaries about the topics discussed during FDS in the past years, most of them remember the topic on disaster. Because after the discussion, they were able to have their own e-budget or the emergency budget. Or the topic on biointensive gardening, since they were able to establish their own edible gardens. So next here is the picture of a person in a wheelchair. This represents inclusivity. That our FDS should be inclusive of any sex, gender, race, or with disability.
So next is our FDS learning materials that we use during our FDS. First, we have the FDS manual or the gabay sa pagpapaunlad ng pamilyang Pilipino. We have 3 modules here. First is the laying the foundation of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program with 9 sessions. This is where we discuss important points regarding the implementation of the program and the roles of the partner beneficiaries on it. Next module is about preparing and nurturing the Filipino family, which tackles relationships among the family, parent to child and husband and wife, responsible parenthood, and the likes. For the third module, it is about the participation of the Filipino family in community development activities with 9 sessions, and basically tackles how can our participants be more involved and active in their community.
Also, here are some of the supplemental modules that are developed over the years based on the assessment of the needs of our partner beneficiaries. For example, the Active Citizenship module, the Early Childhood Care and Development module or the ECCD module, the module of disabilities, child sexual abuse prevention module, child labor module, among others. Also, some regions with indigenous peoples develop specific modules for their IPs, just like in our region. So that's for our learning materials used in our FDS over the years. So if you do not have a copy of this, just let me know so that I can provide you on this. Next, we will run through some important points in our Enhanced FDS Guidelines, or the Memorandum Circular 22 Series of 2020. So first, we would want to highlight these FDS principles. We would want you to instill these principles in conducting our FDS in our respective areas. 1. FDS is apolitical and non-partisan. With this, we would not want our FDS to be a venue for political agenda and the likes. That's why we are being very careful during election period to ensure that the activity will not be used for campaign of a specific person. Next is non-sectarian. We would not want our FDS to be a venue for religious gatherings and teachings. We do not abide to specific religious teaching during FDS. Everyone, regardless of religion, is welcome to our session. Another principle of FDS is non-profit. FDS should not be used to solicit money for our partner beneficiaries. Attendance of our participants should not entail participation costs. That's why, as much as possible, we would want our FDS to be conducted in clusters and near our partner beneficiaries. Last principle is that FDS is non-discriminatory. As I have said earlier, in FDS, we welcome any sex, gender, race, ethnicity, even if you have disability or not. So now, another emphasis on the enhanced guideline is the creation of parent group. Parent group is composed of up to 40 members to ensure conducive and more interactive session and to have a regular and efficient conduct of FDS. Through the parent groups, information dissemination and sharing of updates about the program will be done. Also, this is where we elevate issues and concerns for the improvement of the program implementation. This is also a strategy for a more convenient and better monitoring and evaluation of the program and improvement and development of partner beneficiaries. This will also serve as a peer support and monitoring as well as to resolve gaps in the household's level of well-being. Next is the topics discussed. This just to emphasize that for the newly registered partner beneficiaries, the fundamental topics shall be prioritized in their first year as beneficiary, which is the Module 1 of the FDS Manual. For the next years, topics may vary based on the identified needs of the beneficiaries. Tools such as Development Needs Assessment, Social Welfare Development Indicators, or the SWEDI, can be used as a basis for this. Partner beneficiary may also express or tell the topics that they would want to discuss during the FDS. As for the methodology, as discussed earlier, we use the ADITS model as the standard methodology. We also need to ensure that the session will be participatory, gender-sensitive and responsive, culturally sensitive and competent, inclusive of participants with disability, and respectful of the adult learning principles. Another highlight in the enhanced guidelines is the creation of FDS team. There should be an FDS team per municipality. Through FDS team, partner stakeholders may converge their efforts in uplifting the well-being of the Pantawid Pamilya households. They should also align the purpose and intentions of FDS implementers, internal and external, towards the goals of the program. FDS team could also be used to provide augmentation support to the city municipal links in the actual conduct of FDS and monitoring of the learning of the partner beneficiaries, and improve the implementation standards of the FDS through ensuring plans, schedule, and quality, monitoring of the FDS conduct, and the learning of the beneficiaries, and enhancing FDS materials through development of modules suited to the needs of the locality. For the delays, postponement, or special options, it is emphasized that these are highly discouraged. However, the guidelines have stipulated valid reasons before allowing these options, but this should not be abused. Makeup sessions must be done within the same month. For proxy attendance, it should be constant, and it should satisfy the set criteria. For the standard FDS process flow, we have first, preliminaries to include opening prayer and attendance. Next is facilitation of resolution of issues and concerns. Third, we could have energizer or icebreakers. Then a short review or recapitulation of the previous sessions. Session title objectives will be next. Then, the session proper will be followed and using the ADITS framework. Plan of application and practice of their learnings in the home and community will be also be done. Then next is the post-session attendance check-in. For FDS attendees, the main grantee of the household shall be the principal or permanent FDS attendee. Each household can assign an alternate FDS attendee whom shall not be counted as proxy attendee. The alternate FDS attendee shall only be one person per household. It cannot be changed unless due to inevitable circumstances such as death or imprisonment. Also, he or she should be duly recognized by the city or municipality. Only those adults who are living in the same household and are directly involved in child rearing shall be allowed to stand in as alternate attendees. For households with both spouses as working and with the FDS schedule conflicting with their livelihood or employment, they shall opt to explore the makeup session option or the special FDS schedule or the proxy attendance following these guidelines. So last is the FDS equivalency. FDS equivalency or participation of partner beneficiaries to community development activities outside the regular FDS that can be considered as compliance to the FDS conditionality such as but not limited to cleanups, barangay or community assemblies, tending to their communal gardens, Brigada Eskwela, participation to month celebrations such as Women's Month, Children's Month, IP Month, and Nutrition Month. For the roles of city or municipal links in the conduct of FDS, first, they organize the grantees in groups with a maximum of 40 members each and facilitate election of parent leaders and assistant parent leaders per group. They also organize core parent leaders for every subgroup of parent beneficiaries to act as assistant parent leaders to the overall parent leader in every group of 40. They also plan and organize the overall conduct of FDS per parent group handle. They also facilitate the establishment and convention of the FDS team at the city or municipal level. They also coordinate overall FDS preparatory activities with the local leaders, local partners, parent leaders, and the FDS team. They also facilitate the conduct of FDS or serve as resource person with the assistance of social welfare assistants, LGU links, CSOs, and parent leaders as applicable. They also convene Pantawid Pamilya parent leaders meeting as part of planning and evaluation activities in the conduct of FDS to consolidate all issues and concerns by the household grantees relative to the FDS implementation and other concerns in the program. Also, they coordinate with the local government unit regarding provision of logistical support for the improvement of FDS implementation. They also conduct home visits and or other interventions as follow-up on partner beneficiaries' application of FDS learning. They also accomplish the FDS reports per set timeline. They also monitor and check appropriate regular use of the Taalarawan or the journal of our partner beneficiaries during FDS by all household grantees and document success stories and best practices in relation to FDS and endorse it to the RPM. And for the roles of social welfare assistants, they basically assist the city municipal links in the preparation for the conduct of FDS. They support in the coordination with different partner stakeholders who are tagged as RPs in FDS. They also act as facilitator or resource persons in absence of city and municipal links. But we need to ensure that they are trained or technical assistance were provided to them by their MLs. They also coordinate overall FDS preparatory activities with the local leaders, local partners, parent leaders, and the FDS teams together with the city municipal links. They also accomplish FDS reports per set timeline in case the ML is not around. They also assist in monitoring and checking appropriate regular use of Taalarawan or the journal during FDS by all household grantees. And they also document success stories and best practices in relation to FDS and also endorse it to the RPM board. And that's all for the general information about our family development session. Thank you and have a good day.